Hey, welcome to How to Create Wealth Investing in Real Estate. Grant Cardone here. I am the only one allowed to read my books. And by the way, when I tell you I'm going to read this book to you, you're going to notice that I expand everything that I wrote as I tell other people around me. You can never finish a book because by the time you complete a book like I have this one, and thank you so much for ordering it, thank you for getting on it, and thank you for listening to this audio program. By the time I finish this book, I realize all the pieces and parts that I could have added to it to make it better. So I hope to make this an even better version of the book that you bought. By the way, you should have the book. You should follow along with me. But notice I will deviate, just giving you a heads up here. I will deviate, I will ad lib, but I will cover all the information in the book. So one other thing I want to share with you, that real estate, no matter what anyone tells you, the real estate that I'm doing is not get rich quick. This is a long-term wealth vehicle. You can lose money doing this, okay? I know a lot of people that lost money in 2008, 2009, and 2010. I'm not talking about people that own single-family homes. I'm talking about guys who are out there building to sell condos. They were building apartments. If you get in at the wrong part of the cycle, the wrong size of units, in the wrong markets, any of those three things or a combination of those, then you can lose money investing in real estate. Now, for 30 years, I guess almost 30 years now, I've been researching, learning about, studying, or buying real estate. I have never lost money in an apartment deal that I bought, okay? I have never lost money. Listen to what I'm telling you. I've never lost money on an apartment deal. I know it sounds amazing. Over 40 some odd deals, over $1 billion worth of sales, purchases and sales. We currently own, I think, about $800 million worth of real estate. It's called AUM, Assets Under Management. I own 95% of the entire portfolio is my money, my investments. I started with a $75,000 house, $78,000 single-family home, and over the last 30 years, I have made a lot of mistakes. I've learned a lot of things. I'm going to share that with you in this program. If you're looking in the book right now, scrambling like, where's he at right now? I'm not in the book yet. Okay, so we're going to start in the introduction here in a second. But I just want to tell you a little bit about the history and to be warned that this is not a no money down book. Even if you can do a deal with no money down, by the way, I can show you how to do that. There's going to be a commitment to someone. So when somebody tells you that you can buy deals with no money down, the reality is you had a commitment to a bank, you had a commitment to your investors, so that's not no money down. And in addition to that, think about all the time, the energy, the phone calls. That's not no money down. That's a lot of energy that you invested to avoid putting money down, which I can show you how to do that game. Real estate, when done right, can provide passive income, long-term appreciation, tremendous wealth for your family. I'm going to show you some freaking magic in this book about how you can create wealth, how I've created wealth, the things that I know. I can only teach you what I know. So let's get busy. Again, thank you so much. If you like the audio program, make sure you review it on iTunes. Even if you don't like it, by the way, if you don't like it, review it. I expect there's going to be about 10 hours of information. Cannot wait for you to get this information. I can't wait for you to ask questions. If you have any questions, send them to help@cardonecapital.com, help@cardonecapital.com. I'll continue to repeat that throughout the program to remind you where you can go. If you got a deal you want us to look at, if you got a deal you want me to invest in, hey, I'll do it all, okay? So I want to help you get on the road, whether you want to do this by yourself or you want to do it with me. I want to help you get off the sidelines and get into confidence and certainty so you can invest in real estate and hopefully create as much wealth or maybe even more than I have, okay? All right, introduction. Look, as long as I can remember, I've been fascinated with real estate. I've been drawn to it my entire life, almost like I can even remember as a little kid, driving around with my dad. For the last 30 years, however, I've been buying apartments, investing almost 98% of my entire wealth, every penny I've ever created, after taxes, whatever was left over, I've been pouring into real estate. It didn't matter whether in the beginning it was a piece of land, a house, a storefront, where my dad had a piece of land and there was a grocery store there. I've always had an affinity, a love, an interest in real estate, even if it was cleaning my mom's house. Whether it was the big house we bought, my dad bought right before he died, or the smaller house we had to move to. I've always been fascinated with pine trees and curbs and curb appeal and the paint on the house and the roof line. Like that kind of stuff has always drawn me. And for some reason, for whatever reason, I don't quite understand still today, I've always had a very easy, basic understanding that real estate was somehow more valuable than, say, gold or stocks or other investments. It was just simple for me to understand. You know, I remember when my dad was alive on the weekends. By the way, my dad, if you don't know, he died when I was 10. And between the time I was born and my dad died, I didn't really see my dad much except on the weekends. He would get up very early. He'd go to work and he'd come home about 6 o'clock. And when he came home, dude, he was done. Like he'd sit down, watch some TV. There was 3 TV channels at that time. He'd sit down and watch one of them. And my mom would say, leave your dad alone. Okay. So, but on the weekends, from time to time, I remember my dad and my mom and the 5 kids would load up in the car. I think it was a Continental town car. It had something to do with a Lincoln, okay, I think. And we'd ride around on the weekends in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and my dad would look at real estate sometimes for hours. We'd pass by this store called Gibson's. He'd go in, he knew everybody, he'd talk to everybody. He was a real extrovert kind of guy, or at least he seemed to be. And then we'd drive to real estate, and then he'd pull over someplace. He was in control of everything we did and how long we stayed out. And my dad, I think I remember hearing my dad talk about, oh God, that property's a great property, or those trees are big, so that landscaping's good, or this is a great location. And I think some of that rubbed off on me. My dad, in his lifetime, only owned 3 homes. And each one represented something really important to him. The fact that he was somehow going somewhere. That he had, and by the way, my dad at the end of his career was a stock market guy. He was a stockbroker. He was selling stocks. He wasn't selling homes. But I know now, looking back, and even then, I'm like, okay, he's a stockbroker 5 days a week, but he's showing me homes, talking about how good of an investment owning a home is on the weekends. See, that's an interesting thing to me today, looking back, that my dad was not promoting stocks on the weekend. He was promoting home ownership. By the way, my dad owned 3 homes in his lifetime. One of the greatest assets that we had when my dad died was the house he bought. A 2-acre lot on the lake, in Lake Charles. You know, it was his dream home. Just a few years before my dad died, he had bought this dream home. And he told my mom, I remember him being out on the pier. The kids were out there. It was the first day that we bought the house. We had just moved there. And he says, we've really made it. My mom would talk about that for years to come, that my dad had really made it. This was a solid proof. This house, 2 acres on the lake, 2-story house, looking at the bridge in Lake Charles, was proof that my dad had made it. It was almost 2 acres, waterfront, lots of big trees. My dad would always talk about the 29 giant pecan trees. It was in a neighborhood where the doctor on the left of us, just to the east, was a doctor. The neighbor to the east was a doctor, and the neighbor to the west was a doctor, and there was lawyers around. Actually, the lawyers were across the street because they didn't have as much money as the doctors. And we were only like maybe 5 or 6 blocks from the local country club. My dad died not long after he bought the house, and my mom had to immediately sell the dream house, because it was too much for her to manage. We had to cut lawns, take care of trees, take care of property taxes, paint, roof. I was like decimated by this. We're selling the house. You know, the week that my mom was in grief, she actually moved into fear because of finances. No widow should have to worry about getting rid of something the week after her husband, the love of her life, dies. Instead, my mom had to get out of grief and move into fear. This is a huge lesson for me that literally shifted my life. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. It was a huge lesson that I would not fully understand until in the last 5 or 6, or really particularly 2008, 2009, until I started investing in real estate myself, that I would understand that if you're going to create financial freedom using real estate, it won't be a house. But more on that later, okay? More on that. Why a house, by the way, is not an investment. By the way, if it was an investment, my mom could have stayed in that house because it would have paid her. Now, as an aspiring young teenage boy, 10 years old, you know, and then moving into my teenage years, when I started reading books about wealthy people, because my dad was gone now, right? My dad was the success guy. My dad was the guy that was going to show the young 10-year-old at least I thought, how to create wealth in his life. And that's why I put this real estate program together, okay? The real estate program really is for those of you to learn how not to make mistakes. By the way, my dad, as much as my dad said I made it with that piece of property, the truth is that house was a mistake for my dad because it didn't provide income for my mother. Had it been a true real estate investment, okay, again, I'm getting ahead here, but you're in the introduction to the book right now just so you know where you're at. And I will ad-lib a lot of this book. Had that house been the dream house, been a true investment, it would have paid her in April of 1968. It would not have sucked money from her or concern. It would have given her money. That is the definition of an investment, that it would continue to take care of her and provide her with financial freedom. When I saw how much fear my mom was, I think I don't know if I would have been a success junkie the way I am today, or somebody that's so interested in wealth creation. I always have been. Now, I don't know if it was right before that, during that. I've always been interested in money. So somewhere at 10, 11, 12 years old, my dad didn't come back. I kept looking for him to come back. I kept looking for an uncle to show up. I didn't want to embrace this whole death thing. And so it took a little while for me to realize, hey, dude, if you're going to learn about wealth, if you're going to learn about success, I'm going to school every day. I hated it. Then you're going to have to go read other books about wealthy people. You need to read about the people that have made it. And so what I started doing at about 13 or 14 years old is I started reading books about wealthy people. And I noticed how many of these people, now these are the old guys, this is the black and white guys, these are the guys that made America in the beginning, the J.P. Morgans and the bankers and the oil guys, the original tycoons of America. I remember running across a study when I was reading about these super rich people. This study, which I found amazing, suggested that households who owned large amounts of real estate had lower educational levels. Now, I tell you that because this is aspiring to me because I was a terrible student. I hated school. So when I read that, I'm like, wait a minute, am I reading this right? It suggested that people that owned large amounts of real estate actually had lower educational levels. They were not significantly associated with inheritances. I wasn't going to get an inheritance, okay? There's no way my mom was going to share any of that money with me because she was trying to make it stretch to feed us. The study said that these people were not significantly associated with connections. They weren't socially connected. And they did not, check this out, have any kind of occupational or special occupational status. And I'm like, dude, this is the perfect role. I mean, I read it 2 or 3 times. I forget where the study came from, but I was like, okay, no inheritance, no social connections, no special occupational status. That describes me perfectly. And would, by the way, for the next 30 years. Okay, now I don't know when I read this. I was 13, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. And it became more true when I got out of college. Okay, I got out of college with C- grades. I could have done better than that, but I hated school so much there was no way I would apply myself to actually learn anything in school. I left college with an accounting degree. And everyone said, dude, the guy doesn't apply himself. I didn't apply myself. I hated school. How can you apply yourself if you hate something, right? I think I ran across this study again when I was 20 years old, and it said, listen to this, lower educational levels, not significantly associated with inheritance, not socially connected. By the time I got out of college, I was so socially disconnected, total introvert, okay? Had my own little club, 2 or 3 friends, and that was it. And I did not have a special occupational status. When I got out of college with an accounting degree, I lived in a refinery town where 1 out of 4 people were unemployed. Okay, so I couldn't even get a job. So at 23 years old, this book, not this book, but so much, but this study that they had done about the super rich and the wealthy, not being connected, not having an education, okay, not having inheritance. These are self-made people. Were real estate owners. I was like, oh, wow, man. I would run across this study again years later when I was about 30 years old. See, I didn't have a fancy education. My dad didn't give me the $1 million starts like the Donald got. Okay, the Donald got he got a little kick. Okay. By the way, the Donald got more than a little kick with a couple $10 million or $1 million, whatever the number was. His daddy owned 4,000 or 5,000 apartments in Brooklyn. Okay, in the 30s and 40s. See, I definitely was not connected like the Donald, and I never had a high-level corporate job or title. I've never been involved in tech. I've never been to Silicon Valley to get connected with the Facebook and the Google boys. See, throughout history, if you study it, real estate has proven a viable investment vehicle and has been validated over long periods of time by wealthy families, institutions, and even people that are not highly intelligent, nor are they connected. Those that control real estate end up with wealth. I mean, if you just do the study, I'm not talking about builders, I'm not talking about speculators, I'm talking about people that control, and that is the key word here. People that control real estate end up with wealth, okay? And by the way, this is not a new thing or an American thing. The great civilizations of the Romans, the Egyptians, the Greek, the Chinese, the Persians, and the Mayans all had massive, massive real estate holdings as part of their power structure. In the 1920s, the British were reported to own 1 out of every 4 parcels of land on planet Earth. Listen to this, okay? England's this big. It's this big. Literally, I can travel across England in a jet in one day, in 3 hours, okay? I can't cross America in 3 hours. In the 1920s, the British were reported to own 1/4 of the world's landmass. They still have most of the wealth in London today. Here's a little hidden fact for you. If you're not so jacked up right now just listening to the first 10 minutes of this book that you're like, dude, I got to start investing in real estate. I'm going to tell you over and over in this program, okay, you can lose money in real estate. Okay, you can get involved in real estate and do stuff that's just stupid here, just a total waste of time. But you could also, if you do it right, you don't go for the get rich quick and you don't go for the no money down stuff and you stay away from certain types of real estate, you could get super wealthy here. Here's a little hidden fact for you, okay? Known only once that you're in the game, okay? You're only going to know this once you get big in the game. Like, I didn't know this until I really got in the game. The largest insurance companies on planet Earth today, insurance companies, Allstate, Prudential, MetLife, these are New York Life, these are extremely conservative companies that for hundreds of years have never lost money. Hundreds of years, they've outlasted some of the biggest companies on the planet that you know. You know, the average length of the life of a company today is somewhere around 7 or 8 years. These life insurance companies have lasted for years. Why? Because they're conservative. They do the first thing right. They don't lose money. They get income every month from their insurers, okay? And they pay very few people out. The largest insurance companies in the world, they're banks, by the way. They're bigger than banks. They love commercial real estate. Commercial real estate means real estate that produces income. And they use the income producing real estate to ensure that they're able to pay off the death and retirement benefits of their life insurance or premium holders. At Cardone Capital, the company I created, we will access from time to time insurance companies to partner with us in transactions. It's unbelievable to me. Like, I'm doing a deal right now. It's a $92 million deal. My partner on it is going to be one of the biggest insurance companies in the world. This reduces the cost of debt I use and improves our return. But the interesting part about this is, why is an insurance company investing in real estate? The insurance companies use the dependability of the income from the real estate to improve their returns and pay off their beneficiaries and secure for their beneficiaries in the future that they're able to. Now, why is that important? Because the most important thing about money and all the people that have created wealth over long periods of time is, number one, they don't lose money, and number two, they got money coming to them every month. I'm going to be repeating that chant over and over, the mantra. Don't lose money and get income every month. Not every quarter, not once a year, every month. That's what insurance companies do. And that's how I've built out Cardone Capital, and that's how I have never lost money in a real estate deal. Research history, and you'll see lots of super wealthy people using real estate to either create wealth, preserve it, or both. By the way, you got to preserve it to create it. If you can figure out how to do both, then you're going to be in the classes, if you think big enough, of some of the biggest hitters on the planet. Think J.D. Rockefeller. By the way, this dude started in oil ended up controlling massive amounts of real estate because he was looking for oil, right? He's picking places of land, buying the land, securing the land, getting deals or options on the land. Made him the richest man in the world, probably still is today. No telling how many different names or LLCs, entities, incorporations that he operates under today to hide how much J.D. Rockefeller still owns and controls. Some would say that when you adjust for inflation, J.D. Rockefeller, back in the 30s and 40s, that Rockefeller would still be the richest man in the world over Jeff Bezos by many times. Or how about the name John Jacob Astor? Not as well known, but he invested in Manhattan real estate and in today's terms would be worth $138 billion. You don't even know his name. That's more than Jeff B., founder of Amazon. More recent example would be my friend Donald Bren, okay, a guy that I've studied for years, out of Orange County, California, the largest single landowner in America, richest dude in America, this real estate developer. He started investing in real estate in his 50s. That's encouraging, okay? In his 50s, he is one of the biggest real estate developers, if not the biggest in the country. I think he's worth $16 billion, okay? And he's in the Fortune 50. He started investing in real estate in his 50s, which I'm like, man, when did I start? I started in my 30s, okay? Took me 30 years to start really multiplying this thing. Or how about Stephen Ross here in Miami, owner of the related companies? Check him out, Stephen Ross. He borrowed money from his mother, dipped his feet into affordable housing. He's worth $12 billion, owns the Miami Dolphins and the Hard Rock Stadium here in Miami, just down the street. Then there's the outspoken Sam Zell, $5 billion Sam Zell, started buying and fixing affordable apartments in secondary markets called tertiary markets. Listen to me, started buying and fixing, not building, affordable, what's affordable? Less than the rich people, less than the upper middle class, affordable apartments, that's what we invest in at Cardone Capital, in secondary markets, not New York, San Francisco. He went on to create a small company, the biggest real estate investment vehicle in the world, okay, alongside allowing others to invest alongside him. Sam has made billions of dollars for himself and others. Sam Zell, by the way, is another person that I'm modeling our new company, Cardone Capital, after. Of course, I got to mention the Donald Trump, President of the United States of America. Mr. Trump, who knows what he's worth? He says 10 billion, 12 billion, could be 4, I don't know, whatever. He's the President of the United States of America. His name's on luxury buildings and golf courses, New York, Chicago, Miami, outside the U.S. Hey, look, whether you like the Donald or not, okay, whether you voted for him or not, you got to pay attention to how he got his start. Don't pay attention to Donald. Pay attention to Donald's daddy, Fred Trump. He didn't start in luxury real estate the way Donald did. Fred Trump built 4,000 affordable rentals. Now, this is back when servicemen needed a place to live. He solved the problem for people coming back from service, okay? These were like low-income, affordable rentals for servicemen returning from the war. He ended up owning, check this out, okay? Because everybody talks about the million or the 10 million that Donald got from Fred. Dude, that is nothing, okay? Fred Trump owned 27,000 apartments in the 40s and 50s. 27,000 apartments. Now you multiply the number 27,000 units times any rent number. I mean, like any number. $200 a month. Back in the 50s, the rent had to be $1.75, right? Had to be $150 a month, whatever. 27,000, just do the exercise now. 27,000 times $150 a month times 90%. 10% aren't going to pay you, or they're vacant, okay? Drop it down to 80% if you want. And you'll quickly see how anyone can produce tremendous wealth over long periods of time, while the earth beneath your apartments becomes more and more valuable. Or, hey, how about we go to somebody even as well known as the Trumps, a guy named Carnegie. The wealthiest man in America during the early 20th century. 90%, he said, 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. 90% of all millionaires, he said, in the early 20th century could only become millionaires by owning the RE, real estate. He went on to say that more money's been made in real estate than in all industrial investments combined. What was he talking about? What was going on in the early 1900s? Okay, railroads, cars, oil. And he's saying, hey, real estate by itself created more money than all of those combined. Now, I don't know if that's true today, that 90% of millionaires become so through owning real estate. I'll guarantee you this, though. If you're going to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire, let's say you go to Silicon Valley and you make $50 million bucks with an app. I guarantee you some of that $50 million, if not a large portion of it, is going to go into real estate at some point, sometime, somehow, some way. I'll give you an example. Ray Kroc, minority position owner actually didn't even have an ownership in the company, but he had a minority position. I mean, a tiny little piece of a company called the Big MD, the Big MC. What do you call it? McDonald's? Whack Arnold's, McDonald's. He figured out if he could control the real estate, because he couldn't get it from the McDonald boys. He couldn't get the franchise away from them, which was just I think it was a hamburger, a French fry, and a milkshake company. He couldn't get it from, so he came up with a strategy. Control the real estate, you control the franchise, and it forced the McDonald boys, the original founders of McDonald's, to sell. Each of the McDonald's franchise locations that were selling the French fries and the milkshakes could no longer sell the French fries and the milkshakes because they couldn't get the property, okay? So he got control of the company. It worked out, and the original founders of McDonald's surrendered the entire worldwide franchise ownership over to Ray Kroc, who then went on to build the largest restaurant chain in the world. I'm going to give you one last example because it blew me away when I read this, okay? I never knew anything about this dude. I just thought he was an actor and a bodybuilder. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe, the Terminator, I will be back. And the governor of the state of Wackos, California. He's worth about $300 million bucks today, supposedly. He didn't even make his first money as a weightlifter. And he definitely didn't make it as an actor. In 1970, this is what blew me away that most people don't know about the Terminator. In 1970, he used all his surplus money from, how much protein do I eat? More protein. He was using all his surplus money, okay, to invest in buying apartments in Santa Monica and became a millionaire as an apartment investor. When I read that, I was like, dude, I'm going to buy some apartments, okay? Now, everybody that I've given you on this list, they were in affordable apartments. The income from the apartments allowed Arnold to create financial freedom so he could focus on learning to speak English and an acting career, okay? Now, clearly you can tell, by the way, that I love real estate. Anybody that loves real estate loves real estate. I said this the other day to somebody. I said, if you love real estate, and Jared's like, well, not everybody loves real estate. People just want the money from it. But there's a bunch of us out there that just love real estate. Like when we introduced this book, okay, I've written 8 books. I'm looking over here at Johnny, the camera guy. I've written 8 books. This book had the biggest launch of all 8 books that I've ever written, okay? We underestimated the desire for this book, sold 25,000 copies in 2 weeks, 10,000, our first print was 10,000 copies. In 4 days, we were out of books. I'm backlogged 15,000 books right now. We're going to go through the next 50,000, I think, in 3 weeks. So this will be my best-selling book ever, and it's never been in a bookstore, okay? You can tell that I love real estate. It took me very little time to write this book, 30 years. I puked into the book. And I'm basically going to lay out here why I think this could be, for the next 25 or 30 years, the best investment, the best thing you can learn in the world, I believe, is investing in real estate. And I'll prove my case out before the book's over, before this audio program's over. Okay. Again, if you need help, if you got questions, send it to help@cardonecapital.com. I'll do my best to get back to you. What attracts me the most about real estate, though, is that every time I meet a successful real estate investor, and this is really important for those of you who are interested in lifestyle and freedom, the most interesting thing to me about real estate is when I meet a real estate guy or gal, I notice that they all have a different lifestyle and freedom than other business people. They seem less stressed, calmer, overall more relaxed, and on vacation more than most normal people, okay? I'll give you an example that's not in the book right now, okay? Car dealers. You know, a lot of you might know because you followed me. I came out of the auto industry when I got out of college. I went and worked for a car dealer, and I did so for 7 years. And as a result of that, I ended up knowing a lot about car dealers. Car dealers make most of their money not on selling cars. They end up with most of their wealth, not their income. Their wealth is created because they own great real estate in the city. If you think about the Audi dealer, the Toyota dealer, the Mercedes, the Ford dealer, the Honda dealer in your town, at least over the last 25 or 30 years, those guys own the best real estate in the city. Okay, high locations, a lot of traffic going past them. And what they do is they use the facility of the car dealership or the truck store or the used car lot on top of the land. They use that to pay themselves rent every month. I don't know anybody that takes more vacations than a car dealer. Okay? Why? Why can they take vacations? Because they got their car dealership, you know, making sales over Labor Day, Memorial Day, and they're selling the cars. But what you don't know about the car dealer is the car dealer is charging the car dealership that he owns rent, what's called a rent factor, that he gets every month. He gets that rent factor whether they sell cars or not, okay? And when he sells the car dealership, he typically sells the car dealership and controls the land underneath it and continues to sell the next car dealer an agreement whereby that car dealer owns the BMW store but has to pay rent for the land underneath it. And as time goes on, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if they bought in the right city, in the right location, they end up with something worth a lot of money. You know, if you go back to the housing collapse of 2008, 2009, without question, this was the most severe real estate contraction since the Great Depression, 1920. Those invested in real estate, those invested in the kind of real estate that I own, it wasn't a big sweat. Now, we didn't like it. Okay, I owned 3 businesses at the time. 2 of them got cut in half or worse. I had to cut my payroll. I had to cut my pay. I had to not pay myself. My real estate, bang, paid me every month. 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. I had banks going down around me, and my apartments continue to pay me even through the worst economic real estate contraction since I've been alive. And 50 years. If you owned apartments during the worst part of the biggest housing bust in the history of the United States, and if you were still buying at the top of the market, 2007, 2008, if you were buying even in 6, 7, and 8, your investments today, okay, would still be worth more than you had bought them. And, by the way, if they are cash flow positive the entire time, you would have got a check every month to sit and wait. Louis Glickman, well-known real estate investor, made popular the saying, the best investment on earth is earth. If I could tweak Mr. Glickman's quote, because by the way, Mr. Glickman, I own more real estate than you do, so I can out-quote you. The best investment on earth is earth that produces cash flow. Look, if you study the people listed below, they were not the smartest students. All you got to do is go back, study the short list. They were not the smartest. They had minimal, in the beginning, minimal political connections. Arnold had none. No technology background, no patents, no franchises, no trademarks, nothing, dude. They were not complex strategists or giant thinkers. Come on, Fred Trump, Donald Trump. We're not talking complex here, okay? What they all did seem to have in common as I studied them is they were all, good news here, fairly simple, hard workers, frugal, okay? Now, I know some of you think Donald Trump's not frugal. All you got to do is go look at his buildings right here up and down Miami. These are not the nicest buildings, okay? Go to New York City. His stuff is frugally built. He does not put gold everywhere. He just puts gold where it gets attention. And the rest of the place, he saves money on. So they're hard workers, they're simple, okay? They're practical, they're frugal, they're risk adverse. All these people, they do not take risk. They are risk adverse, and they made huge bets, massive bets on one kind of real estate, okay? And it's interesting Because the real estate that they all invested in that you need to learn about produced real income. You know, when Donald bought the big building, the Trump Tower in New York City, you know, what most people don't know is he negotiated a deal that for 40 years, I think it was 40 years, it could have been 35 years, 35 or 40 years, I think he won it in court. Maybe somebody here can pull up the exact number and I can come back and tell you what it is. But it's somewhere between 30 and 40 years. He negotiated, he fought in court to not pay taxes to the state or city of New York. It's called a tax abatement. Won in court 40 years. Not to pay taxes to the city of New York for the Trump Tower. Now, I'm telling you that to tell you this. Taxes are one of the greatest expenses in running a piece of property, and Donald Trump figured out how to improve his cash flow, okay, of the Trump Tower. How many years? 40 years. 40 years. He walked out, he won in court, and the reporter says, Mr. Trump, how did you get a 40-year tax abatement? He's like, because I didn't ask for 45. Ultimate real estate negotiator, always looking for a little bit better edge to improve their cash flow. The real estate investing career that I have is limited to one kind of real estate. The kind of real estate that list of people that I just told you about. I buy cash flow producing real estate in great markets. To date, I have bought and sold over $1 billion. That's with a B. $1 billion worth of real estate over my career. I've quietly been doing this over 25 years until people started saying, hey, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you know, what are you doing over here in Savannah looking at property? What are you doing in Miami? What are you doing selling your stuff over here? Why were you in Nashville buying property? Why are you doing all this stuff? Today, I currently hold $800 million worth of real estate. Hopefully, by the time you finish reading this book, I'll hit the bill. I'm going to hit it in my lifetime, no doubt about it, okay? I've already been through that much in transactions because sometimes I'll buy a deal and sell it, pick up my profit, move on, and trade into another deal. Look, it all started with one deal, though. That's the good news here. It all started with one deal. In fact, it all started with one bad deal, okay? If you're the kind of person who, like, is a slow learner, scared to spend their money, you don't want to invest. Like, my first deal was $78,000. It was a single-family home, and it was bought on a budget. I had $3,000 or $4,000, maybe $5,000 to put down, and that's why I bought that house. I bought it on a budget. Listen to everything I'm telling you right now, because what I'm telling you right now, you're either going to learn to do or you're going to learn, red flag, caution, beware. Listen to what I bought my first purchase was a mistake, and I bought it on a budget. Red flag, don't buy a property on a budget. Okay, it'll always be a mistake. Today I'm under contract for 3 deals that total $300 million. Hey, my first deal was a mistake. I didn't quit. I made a change. I made a shift. I see a lot of people buy the first thing. They buy it wrong. They bought too small. It became a problem, a hassle, and they never get back into real estate again, okay? So the real estate could be the issue. The type of real estate you're buying. Real estate as a whole, if you do it right, is never going to be something that should cause you problems. It should create wealth for you, okay? Today I'm going to do, I don't know, I could hit over $1 billion before the end of the year. It's mind-boggling to go from, how can a guy, 7 businesses I own, there's only one of them that are going to put me over the $1 billion mark. It's the real estate. 7 businesses that I'm pushing on and shoving on every day and showing up for work and meetings and pressing people and pushing people, firing people and having to hire people and like worry and stress out. Am I going to hit my targets? The real estate, dude, the real estate is like, I'm telling you, it's the one I go to sleep at. If everything else goes to hell, I'm good. My goal in the very beginning, when I was 29 years old, 30 years old, when I started shopping, when I started doing deals, all I wanted after the first mistake was 20 apartments. I said to myself, I remember being, I guess I was 32 years old, and I'd write in my day timer. I'd write in my little legal pad every morning, I own 20 apartments. I make $100,000 a year in passive income. I didn't even know how the math would work. That's how dumb I was. So look, if you don't know anything about real estate, like if you just know you like real estate and something about it makes sense, okay? If you listen to what I'm telling you, I was so dumb in the beginning. I've never read a book on real estate. I've never done a course on real estate. I should have, by the way. for the connections. I should have done courses, but I didn't. I'm sitting there saying, okay, if I just own 20, I'm good. I'll make $100,000 a year, $8,000 a month in passive income, and I didn't know anything. Now the goal, I already got to 20 units. We're at 5,000 units right now. Now the goal is to get to 10,000, because I was thinking too small the whole time. And more importantly, I'll get to 40,000 before I die. And check this out. The most important thing is I want to change the way people invest in real estate, the way you think about real estate. I want to change the way people invest their money. And one day, then take my entire holdings, all this holdings that I do with myself, my own money, my family, my friends, and my investors, my partners, and take the whole thing and sell it to Wall Street as a real estate investment trust known as a REIT. And ring the bell on Wall Street one day and say, ha, ha, ha. Okay? Now, let's talk about why I wrote this book. My main goal with this book is, number one, to convince you to start investing in real estate that pays you. Number two, show you how to get started buying deals. And three, prevent you from making big mistakes, okay? This small book, okay, you can read probably in a night. I would tell you to read it more than once. There's a lot going on in this book that you're going to overlook. If you're a brand new, it's a simple book. It's a great, easy, good book to start. You know, you just want to remember that quote while you're reading this book from a guy named Andrew Carnegie. The wise young man or wage earner of today invest his money in real estate. The wise young man, that's before you had to say man or woman, the wage earner of today, male or female, should invest their money in real estate. If you're an experienced investor, you will find some of this elementary, but I assure you, okay, if you don't, while you're glossing over the things you already know, I guarantee you I'm going to hit you with some freaking gold in here that will change forever. Even the most advanced investor will learn strategies here that we employ that will improve your return to you, to your investors. I know it does to our investors. It creates positive cash flow, increases positive cash flow, and provides 2x and 3x, that's 300% returns to our investors, okay? What you will see me do here is to make a case of why income-producing real estate is probably the most secure investment available. I didn't say the best. The most secure investment you can make today for everyday, hardworking people. When I say hardworking, I think about people that don't want to lose their money. And I want to help you sort out and simplify the exact deals you should be buying. I'll also show you how to find deals, assess their value, and how to buy that right deal. As you read the book, as you listen to me on audio, and you're like, if you become aware that you shouldn't go it alone, by the way, most people should not go it alone in real estate, and you'd like to be involved in really big deals from the get-go, by the way, I'm going to make a case on why that would be the best thing for you to do. Start with bigger deals, not little deals. You should definitely look into what we're doing at Cardone Capital, where we're literally changing the way people invest in real estate, think about money, buy real estate, get debt, and the way they exit and manage the deals. I created this company, Cardone Capital, not to play the game, not to just play the real estate game and not to play the other people's money game. I want to change the game of real estate investing. I want to change the way this game is played and make it available to little guys. I'm a little guy. The fact is, I'm a little guy. My whole life I've been a little guy. My stature's little. Physically, I'm little. You know, I know the only people that don't think I'm a little guy are my kids because they're small. They're smaller than me. I've always been a little guy, okay? I've always been the little guy, whether it was my company I was starting or, you know, I'm trying to break into TV. I've always kind of been the outsider. So, like, you know, if you're a little guy or you're an outsider, you know what I mean, okay? The fact is, look, the little guy, not just in America, but everywhere around the world, he almost never gets the great deals. The great deals are not available to the little guys, okay? Most investors don't even know what to look for. It's not like the little guy's being taken advantage of. The little guy just doesn't know what to look for. They don't know who to call. They don't know where to get the best deal. They don't know where to get the best debt. They wouldn't know how to make the contact. Probably can't get the deal funded. Dude, you're a little guy. You're an outsider. You're not in. You don't know, okay? Now, I want to help you get in the game of investing, and I want you to do it right the first time. Okay, check it out. The more knowledge you have, the more confidence you have, and the more you'll invest, okay? In fact, my friend Yvonne Tapia, okay, he's a big network marketing guy. He's in front of 4,000 and 5,000 people every week. Huge network marketing guy. A real leader and by the way, a friend and a partner in Cardone Capital. He said, Grant, how much money should I invest in Cardone Capital or in real estate? I said, dude, all of it. He's like, what do you mean, man? I said, every penny you have. And he's like, well, how much money do you have? Dude, almost every single penny I can gather, I put into to apartments. Why? Because I have knowledge, and that knowledge gives me confidence that I'm not going to lose my money. I'm going to get passive income. And over time, as long as I have time on my side, I'm going to get a return on my investment, my capital. I don't want to lose money. I want passive income, and I want a 2x or 3x or a 4x return. The more confidence I have in what I'm doing, the more money I will invest. And that's why I'm doing this program for you. I want you to read the book, and I want you to listen to me. And then I want you to get on my full program, okay, where I'll literally walk through deals with you. Because the more confidence you have, the more money you will invest. And the longer time you have, the more you're going to thank me in the future. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, you're going to be like, dude, you didn't just sell me a sales book or a negotiating program or a webinar or I went to your conference. You literally, and this is what I want to do. My legacy will not be the money I made. It will be the people I helped. I say this all the time. My biggest reward today is your success. So if I can help you do this on your own or you do it with me, either way, we both win. One last thing, and something I'm going to repeat over and over and over and over again. I believe that investing in cash flow positive producing real estate, that would not include a home. That would not be land, okay? It would have to produce cash flow. Will prove to be the best financial decision of your lifetime, and it might be the best financial investment vehicle over the next 25 or 30 years. I know it has been for me for the last 25 years. Of all my businesses, again, real estate business, my real estate business by itself provides me with the most financial security of all my businesses by 10x. Okay, 7 businesses, and it is one that provides me with total financial security. The other 6 businesses are great. I value each of them. I love them. I have passion for them. I work in them every day. None of them offer the advantages that real estate investment does, okay? Investing in income-producing real estate produces leverage. I don't get leverage from Cardone Training Technologies or my event business or my authoring business or my speaking business. Consider speaking, okay? You pay me 50 grand or 100 grand or 150 grand to come speak at your event. I'm being literally paid money to sell time, okay? It would seem like a great deal. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you paid me 150 grand to speak or you gave me a $150,000 position in a piece of real estate, I know which one I want, okay? I want that real estate that pays me money again next month and pays me over time, okay? Hey, I'd rather take a percentage of your apartment deal as a speaking gig rather than take money. Why? Because money goes down in value and the apartment seems to always go up. When bought in the right locations, go up in value. So the reason I love investing in income-producing real estate is it provides leverage, 2, cash flow, 3, massive tax advantages that my other 6 businesses don't even get close to. The tax advantages alone could make sense of an investment. And number 4, explosive upside as long as, and you'll hear me say this over and over, as long as I have time. While real estate needs attention, everything needs attention. Grass has to be mowed. Weeds have to be pulled. Tenants must be thrown out. Yes, I said it. You got to exterminate some tenants. There'll probably be roaches and bed bugs and roofs that go bad and paint. All that happens, okay? While it needs attention, I assure you, when you purchase the right size property in the right location with the right debt at the right time with the right management, the investment will prove to be less work than ordinary businesses. More importantly, 10 to 20 years from now, someone will pay to live in that property. And someone also will pay to own that property where people live and pay. And someone will pay you a multiple to own it. If I died tomorrow, okay, if I died tomorrow, by the way, my will is written like this: sell the plane, Elena, and sell the condo. Don't sell any of the real estate. If I died tomorrow, my real estate holdings will produce income for my wife, my kids, and my church for decades to come, if not hundreds of years. That's right. Long after I'm done with this body, throw it away. Bang, he's gone. I ain't gone. Okay? Every time you run into a guy like me, it's like 10X, man. Commit, go all the way. That's me. I'll be spiriting through all those people. Everybody, greatness all over the world for the next hundreds of years, I'll be just channeling into them. That's right. Long after I'm done with this body, my real estate holding will continue to fund a lifestyle for my wife, my kids, okay, their kids maybe, even if they're good kids, my church, my charities, and wherever, check this out, wherever I direct the estate to do with free cash flow. Okay, I get almost $1 million a month right now from free cash flow every month. I called up one day, I'm done, I'm not coming to the work anymore. Bang! Every month, bang, 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 bang. What do you think is going to happen to that number over the next 30 years? Million is going to become 1.5 million, then it's going to become 1.8 million, then it's going to become 2 million. It's stupid money. And nobody's talking about it because nobody can, because if they do, everybody hates on them. We're not talking about buying single-family homes here. I'm not talking about flipping and wholesale. I'm talking about freaking generational, ridiculous, stupid legacy wealth. Now, if you got a Woody right now like I do, you're listening to the right program, right program at the right time, okay? Okay. My wife said to me one day, she said, I think you like real estate more than sex. And I'm like, I do. I do, and I will, and I won't lie. I love real estate because it just never quits giving, okay? It just never stops giving, okay? Even when I'm like, it just keeps putting out. Nobody can keep putting out like real estate, okay? Now, you may not be thinking about generational wealth at this point. You may be just getting started. So let me simplify the game. Let me simplify the apartment investing for you and help you avoid the mistakes that I see most people make. By avoiding these mistakes, you can make sure your first deal works, not your third or fourth or fifth deal. Most people quit after their first deal because it didn't work. To do that, you need to know what you're looking for exactly, what works exactly, what to avoid exactly. It's not a million things to avoid. There's only a handful. And how do you find the right deals? How do you buy them? How do you finance them? How do you manage them? And most people never learn this. How do you sell them and make some money? If you've been dabbling with smaller deals or maybe flipping single family, my goal is to open up your eyes. Okay, I've done this for a lot of people, a lot of guys and gals that have been flipping. I had some friends of mine in California. They were flipping, called me up. Hey, what do you think? I said, dude, you need to get out of the flipping game at some point. They invested $1.6 million with me. It's worth $5 million 3 years later. Listen to me. They invested $1.6 million with me. It's worth $5 million today. They have never not gotten a check every month. They've not flipped one home in 3 years. Okay. All right. They took their retirement money out of their retirement account. They self-directed. They took their retirement money, gave it to me, and I've been churning that money in apartment deals. Okay. My goal is to open your eyes here. How you can do this on your own, by the way. And it can change things forever for you and your family. I want to help you move from landlord collecting headaches. If you're flipping homes, the guy that's flipping homes trying to sell a house, you're just speculating is all you're doing. And I want to put you in an ownership role where you're collecting not headaches but rent. Okay? And you become a knowledgeable investor. This is what this book wants to do. I want to turn you into a knowledge wealth creator, a real investor. Not somebody that's buying a house, trying to time it right, fix it right, and flip it, like all those shows you see on TV, okay? All those shows you see on TV with guys flipping homes. My buddy Dean Graziosi, he owns like, I don't know, 300 or 400 homes, single-family homes. He's like, man, Grant, show me your apartment game. I own 300 units in one location, one closing, one deal, okay? I don't have 300 different closings. See, my goal is to change the way you think, what you're looking at, how you approach real estate, how you buy it, so that you're not buying deals that never create financial freedom. You want financial freedom. You don't just want money with real estate. I want the income. I want the appreciation. I want the depreciation. I want the tax advantages, but I want the financial freedom, okay? I want you to understand how I see deals and why I'm willing to invest almost everything I worked hard for in those deals. You should know what I know so that you can have confidence in yourself to invest. Or if you elect to do something, partner with me at Cardone Capital, you need to have confidence in me. So you know when you put money with me, you can go to sleep at night and not say, well, the return this month, Grant, was only, this much and it should be that much. Dude, over time, we're going to catch it up, okay? You need to understand so you can either do it yourself or do it with the right person. Cardone Capital is for this company is for those of you who actually do love and understand real estate. I don't want people that don't understand it, but I want people that love real estate. Maybe they don't have the time. Maybe you're juggling your primary business, your family. You got a couple kids like me. You got a parent. You don't have time to find deals. You don't have time to get on on phone calls with broker. My friend Howard runs 14 or 15 car dealerships. He's like, dude, I don't have time to find deals. I don't have time to take tenants. He's working 14, 15-hour days. He's like, I can't take a phone call from a tenant at 10 o'clock at night saying, come fix my toilet. Cardone Capital, we're allowing everyday people to access phenomenal deals like the one behind me. These are massive deals. That's a $50 million deal behind me I just closed on. And we're literally going to change. My goal is to change the entire industry of real estate investing where the big guys, this is where I get angry, where the big guys get all the great deals and the little guys get the scraps, the leftovers. And that, by the way, is a fact. You either understand that now, you need to take my word for it, but you will learn the hard way. Okay? Warning, 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 okay? Sound and submarine going off. Okay? The little guys get the scraps, and that's why you guys have been reading and seeing all about single family, flipping, duplexes, fourplexes, eightplexes. You've been pitched the scraps, okay, for years. And it's too long. It's going on too long. And what happens is if you study history and economic cycles, guess what goes to slaughter when the economy turns downward? The scraps. The little guy gets wiped out. Keep in mind that you need to read this. When you read this, you need to know where my heart is. I detest Wall Street. Okay? I detest stocks. I hate 401ks, IRAs, retirement vehicles. I despise bond investing. I detest and hate, can I use the H word? Yeah. The banks. Now, I got a tenant back here, a bank that pays me every month. Man, I don't like my money sitting in a bank. I would love to be a bank. I would love to be the bank, but I don't like the bank, okay? These people pay you nothing. You're literally, your money's sitting in the bank. My mom used to tell me, save your money, son, save your money. A penny saved is a penny earned. Now, Mom, it's a penny. I remember telling my mom before I died, Mama, you told me when I was 13 years old that a penny saved is a penny earned. And Mama, I got to tell you something, you're wrong. A penny is a penny. And a penny not multiplied will always be worth less than a penny. Okay? I'll show you how little value cash has. Okay? Because how many have been told cash is king? Cash is shit. Okay? I said it. Tweet it. Quote, unquote, cash is shit at Grant Cardone. Cash flow is king. Cash is shit. I said it 3 times now, okay? Okay, check it out. What does the bank do with money? You bring the bank $10,000, what do they do with it? First thing they do is convert it to digits and then lend it out 9 times. They pay you nothing. They pay you 0.12% on your money. That's less than 1/8 of 1%. It'll take you like 80 years to earn 10 cents. And it's important for you to understand my mindset when you're reading this book, okay? You have to know where the author, anytime you read a book by anybody, you need to understand the mindset of the individual. I hate banks, I hate Kios, I hate retirement accounts, I hate stocks, okay? I'm a complete coward. I'm going to make all my confessions right now, okay? It's been 30 days since my last confession. I'm a complete coward when it comes to investing. I never speculate. Rhymes with masturbate. I refuse to lose money, Father. I refuse to lose money. These are my admissions in the confessional. What can I do for my sins? By the way, it's never changing. Okay, I'm a complete coward. I hate stocks. I hate banks. I don't speculate. I can't lose money. I refuse to lose money. These are my mantras. If there's sins, then I must live with them or invest around them. I only invest, Father, in instruments that provide free cash, extra money, free cash, extra money. My money must earn money. And the only thing I know how to do that in is real estate. So everybody understands this, reading or listening or watching my program. I only invest in real estate. Everything else is a speculation for me. Okay? And I only invest, by the way, in real estate that makes babies, which means produces income. You know, a very successful businessman in London recently asked me, again, my friend Yvonne, how much should I invest with you, Grant? Yvonne Tapia. I looked at him without hesitation. He was in our offices here. Saw him again in London. I said, Yvonne, how you doing? Ran into him and his wife, right? And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. I'm here. He's like, Grant, you remember what you told me in Vegas, in Miami at your office? I said, no. He's like, I asked you, how much should I invest with you? And the answer was everything. Invest everything. Now, how can I tell someone that? Because I have. See, everything I've created in my life for 30 years, all the money, extra money, I've invested in real estate. Why would I do that? Because I believe in the fundamentals that make it viable long term, okay? I don't know if Elon Musk has invested all his money in going to Mars. I kind of expected he has. Or PayPal before he sold it, or in the solar panel. I don't know if he's invested all his money. I don't know, you know. I know this, anybody that will invest everything they have in what they're doing, they must be freaking insane, or they must really believe in what they're doing. Remember, as you listen to this information, I don't speculate and I don't gamble. I refuse to speculate and I don't gamble. Listen to me. I don't speculate and I don't gamble. Despite my very extroverted, loud, obnoxious, arrogant, Banny Rooster attitude that you see on YouTube, when it comes to money, I'm probably the most conservative person you've ever met. I don't speculate and I don't gamble with my hard-earned money. If you ever see me in Las Vegas sitting at a blackjack table, you're going to see me playing one green chip at a time, $25. Okay? That ain't speculation. That's boredom. I'm just playing, okay? That's not me losing money. That's me just being stupid. I've worked very, very hard for my money, as probably you have, and I only invest in cash flow producing real estate, okay? I refuse to lose money that I worked hard to get. Listen, I refuse to gamble with money I've worked hard for. Real estate that produces income is an asset that you can leverage with good debt. The property covers your operational expenses. It covers the improvements. It covers and pays for the insurance, the taxes, and check this out, the principal and the interest of the loan while I sit and wait for the rents to increase. And the value of the property will appreciate at the point that the rents increase over time, as long as they're in the right location, so that when we sell or refinance, we can pull cash out of the deal. Or, magic, we can own the property with no money invested. I'll be going over that in the program as well. Look, I never deviate from this criteria. Anything that you see me investing in will hit this criteria. I invest my surplus, all surplus money, into income-producing machines in great locations where the rent is less than the cost of a home ownership. And I try to buy at or below. I'll be going over these criteria when you're picking out your first deal. I buy at or below replacement costs. I'll explain that in the program, so that when I do invest, I buy very large deals, just so you know. They need to be big deals. They got to be big deals. I'll show you how to do that. Typically 200 to 1,000 units at a time. Your first deal can be that big. And I do it in markets with decades of projected job growth and with market demographics more likely to rent than to own. So keep all this in mind while listening or reading the book. You'll need to know how I think, so that when I give you a strategy, you're understanding where I'm coming from. I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me, okay? Again, I don't know that this is going to make you a millionaire or a billionaire, or you're going to have $1 million worth of passive income. I can't promise you any of that, okay? I would expect that 1 out of every 20 or 30 people that read the book and use the program are going to actually turn into freaking superstar investors. I don't think most people are willing to do the work that it takes to do with real estate what I've done with it. I look at 100 properties to buy 2 deals. I don't think most people have that kind of discipline. So I think 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or maybe 7 people out of 100 read this program, listen to the audio program, ever bone up and do the work it takes to do what I've done with it. I know this. My kids will be billionaires, okay? Not many people can say that. My kids for sure will be billionaires because of the real estate I purchased. Will you be a billionaire? Will your kids be a billionaire? Will you have passive income for the next 300 years? I don't know, okay? I don't know. I doubt it. But I can share with you what I've done. And then it's up to you whether you do it or not. 7 states we bought properties, 40 different deals over 30 years. I've been in before 2007, after 2007, in the internet bubble, through the savings and loans crisis. Okay, I've had banks go down. Banks that I owed money to went under, and I didn't. Also, as you're listening to this, if you have questions, again, all you got to do is call into our live show. Every Monday I do a live show. I take your calls. Or you can email me, help@cardonecapital.com. If there's something you don't understand, something you hear here, I got a big staff, and we'll do our best to answer your question, okay? But do not hit me on Instagram saying, you haven't answered my question yet. But do hit me on Instagram. Follow me there, okay? I want to get your money to work as hard for you as you have worked to pay the bills, man. Or to pay the car company, or the electric bill, or wherever your money's going, okay? It kills me to watch people buy houses and have money sit there and just, like, be unused. Now, I know some of you just heard this, and what did he just say? What did he say? What did he say? There's $5 trillion of equity sitting in houses today that's not being put to work. I'll be talking more about the house and why the house is not a good investment. You're leaving equity in your home. It kills me to watch people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in 401ks that decay for 30 years. In hopes that when you're old and have erectile dysfunction, when you can no longer go on a cruise or a trip or hike a mountain, when you're no longer interested in life at all, but you have money sitting in a retirement account. It's so dumb, okay? So I want to help you. I want to help you. If you like any of this, just remember all that about me, okay? I'm definitely a crazy dude. I go all in. I want to share with you before I close this chapter out a big mistake that I made in real estate is I didn't start soon enough. I don't think I talk about this in the next chapter, how I got started in my first mistake. I didn't start soon enough. I didn't buy big enough. I didn't buy often enough. Should have never sold anything I had. And I should have gone 10x bigger than I did. If I would have, I'd have been a billionaire already. Hope you enjoyed this.